Hi there and welcome to Starlight Wellness. Thank you for tuning in to my station. This is Ange. I'm the owner and founder of Starlight Wellness, an astrological and energy coaching page to help you and assist you on your ascension path, to provide you energy healing and information about energy transits that are happening on the planet through astro-numerological information. And so I'm so grateful to be of service to help anyone on their path right now. And through my own divine intuition and abilities, I am very guided to be of service at this time, to be providing wisdom and divine information from the stars, from the moon, and from the sun. So thank you for tuning into my station and Happy New Year. It is 2018. Finally, yes, we are entering into an 11 numerological year. 1 + 1 = 2. So it is also a 2 number years. 2018 equals 11, which equals 2, which equals love. For most people, 2 is also the sign of partnerships, of commitments, of business contracts, one-on-one kind of partnerships. And so there's a lot of love theme that's coming through with this energy for this new year. And so in my past videos, I was discussing this huge, immense soulmate and twin soul transits that were coming up with the moon cycles. And as we know, as we tune into the moon cycles, it actually starts to develop a story. And every moon cycle kind of brings us more pieces of information to the story. It's like the story is building upon building itself. And so I was guided in this astro-numerological update and report to provide you guys with information that's going to cover both January and February up until the eclipses in February. Why am I doing that? Well, because there's a lot of transits that are coming through at this time that are transitioning the year ahead. And it's telling us a story. It's giving us themes, energetic themes. And so it's really important for us to kind of look at the big picture and to look at things holistically to really understand and tap into the energy for our greatest and highest good and for our greatest healing as well. So I'm happy to be of service through my own intuition and my gifts to help you along your path. So thank you for tuning in. Please like and share my page if you feel so guided. That being said, what are the main astrological and numerological kind of highlights that I'm going to be presenting in this report today? The first is the super full moon in Cancer at 11 degrees this January 1st or 2nd, 2018. A supermoon. A supermoon is when the moon is closest to the earth, and so it intensifies the energy of the moon. And so there's this energetic moon cycle that we're starting off the year ahead. And what's super important about January is that there's actually 3 moons happening all this month. And so there's a lot of lunar energy. What does lunar energy mean? Lunar energy is about intuition, emotions, revealing deeper secrets, bringing things up to the light. And it starts off in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is the water sign. It is also represented by the moon. Cancer ordains the moon, so it feels at home. It feels most comfortable there. And so we have this very, very nurturing and loving and mothering aspect to start the new year. Then we have the new moon in Capricorn that is happening at 26 degrees mid-January, I believe January 15th, if I'm right. And that's at 26 degrees. And then finally, January 31st, we have a lunar full moon in Leo. So we have 3 full moons this month. Huge theme on moon energy. Finally, we're going to be entering February, which will be eclipses, which will be the eclipse seasons. Now, the eclipse seasons happen every 6 months, and it kind of ordains the energy for the next 6 months. So what is happening right now is that we're ending a 6-month cycle that started this August with the eclipses, and we're eclipsing that energy out and starting a new eclipse cycle this February. And so it's so important at this time to kind of go over both January and February, because there's so many themes that are creating a story ahead. And this story will help you understand and embody how the energy cycles are moving for you, how the planetary cycles are moving. Okay, so that's the first important thing. The second important thing is the numerological sequences. It is astronomical how many 11s there has been going on in the sky and in the astrology for the full moon and for all the moon cycles in the last few weeks and few months, quite honestly. So if anyone has watched my past videos, I told you that we started at 11 degrees. So every full or new moon was at 11 degrees or at 26 degrees. Both of those codes, 11 and 26, are very prominent soulmate, twin soul, or love-focused codes. 11 is the code of partnerships and love, like true love with your heart, because it's 1 and 1. It has to do with our soulmates, our unions. Where do we feel most at home with our true love, right? And so there's been a huge love theme that has been progressing since about November with the 11-26 cycling, and it's going to be continuing until February, even into March. And so we have this lunar kind of cycle telling us a story that there is a focus in the sky right now with 11 and 26. 26 equals 8, which is the infinity number. It's the master number of endless infinity love, endless love for all, and for your twin soul, the yin and the yang, the masculine, feminine, the dark and the light, okay? Bringing that into harmony, bringing heaven to earth, bringing the energy of divine love embodied on the planet right now. And it's equaling to a 2-year, which is all about partnerships. 2s have to do with cooperation, with partnerships, about being flexible. My birth chart, my astrological personal chart, actually is a 2. So this 2-year is my year. It's a 2-year for me. So I'm super excited about that. Definitely there's going to be some energy that is going to be more positive for me, thank heavens, because 2017 for me was, whew, I'm ready to let that go. But that's a huge number. The codes that are coming through is also a very important aspect, and I'm going to talk about the codes and the numerology in the full moon, precisely why it's even being more highlighted at the full moon. Next thing that I'm going to talk about are Cancer themes. So the full moon is in the sign of Cancer. It's a water sign, it's a cardinal sign, and there are themes associated with Cancer that kind of tells the story for the next few weeks and for the next 2 months until the eclipses. And these themes are going to be themes that are going to highlight the healing that is required within ourselves, within our own experiences, and within the collective as a whole. Cancer is a feminine energy. It has to do with motherhood, mothering, nurturing energy. It has to do with our home and domestic life, where we feel safe and secure. And it also has to do with fertility and bringing creative projects into fruition, because Cancer is the mother, the divine mother of all the astrological charts. And so we have this huge theme of women's empowerment, women's rights, women's health, domestic affairs, and secret revealed about these things coming up. So I'm going to talk about the themes as well. Next is a huge transit, Uranus. The last planet that is in retrograde is moving forward this January 2nd. I'm filming this January 2nd. So we have Uranus, that is in the planet of action and fire, masculine energy of Aries, moving direct. And now we finally have all the planets moving forward until March 4th, I believe. Okay, so for January to February, like I said, this next 2 months is kind of a time where we have every single planet in the sky moving direct, moving forward. Nothing's really restraining them. Nothing's holding them back. There's nothing's being hidden anymore. Everything's going to be revealed. Everything's pushing for things to move forward, to be healed, revealed, and so that we all move forward with more grace and ease into this year. So there's a huge energetic transit because of that, because of all the planets going direct. There are also a few other planetary transits that I'm going to talk about specifically with the full moon and new moon this month, which has to do with the Capricorn energies, but that'll get into a little later. Finally, divine love. 1 + 1 = heart. Okay, we're entering into an energy where love and compassion brought together brings us the joy, right? So we are entering in an embodied state of this 1 + 1 code to actually center into our hearts our true desires, our true love, and our true purpose, what we are here to do. So truth is a really important topic at this time. And in order to embody truth, we have to embody love, divine love, and come from a place of divine love. Follow our hearts in the moment, in every present moment, is what we are here to do and what we are here to learn and accomplish on the planet right now for ascension. In order to ascend, we need to tune into our hearts. We have to follow our heart's desires. Not what society told us, not what our family told us, not what, our ego tells us, our, fear programming or anything like that. We're letting all of that go and we're starting fresh like a tabula rasa and coming from our heart space. Okay? So those are the themes and the topics that I'm going to be presenting in this video. Thank you for those who are patient and that are interested in continuing hearing all the updates that are coming through. They are so essential. They're going to be covering the next few months, and it's really important at this time to kind of look at this holistically as a big picture because it tells a story. So thank you for tuning in, and I will be right back to start this astrological update. Hi there and welcome back. Thank you for tuning into this new year super full moon in Cancer at 11 degrees report. And I have so much to cover, like I said, because I'm going to be covering 2 months. So I'm covering the month of January, which is lunated with 3 moons. So we have so much lunar energy this month. And then we're going to be heading into February, which will be eclipse season, which is another potent moon time where we end 6 months and we start a new 6-month cycle. Okay, and it's so important at this time. I can't express enough to look at the astrology and the numerology for January and February through a very holistic and big picture approach, because it tells us a story. The themes are so similar and they're kind of building on top of each other. And so it's so important to tune into the cycles and tune into these energies, because as we tune into the natural rhythms of the earth and the moon, we tap into our own intuitive senses and abilities. And I'll explain to you why that's so important, especially this January with this new moon and full moon. So to start, the supermoon in Cancer, a supermoon highlights the energy of the moon evermore. Like I said, it increases and intensifies the energy of the moon. And it's in the sign, it's in its ruling sign of Cancer. And so it's even more intensified. Cancer is the sign of emotions. It's not Pisces or Scorpio like most people think or say. Cancer rules emotions. And so it's really our deep emotions where we feel truly at home, those emotional bonds that we have with family or with the soulmate or twin relationship. And Cancer rules that energy. It also rules our psychic senses. So tuning into our intuition right now, because our emotions is the gateway to our intuition. We need to be able to embody and express and be aware of our emotions so that we can tap into our intuition. That is how the process occurs, and this is part of what the moon is trying to teach us. Cancer also rules domestic issues, family life. It's ruled by water, and it is a cardinal sign. So it's like the ruler of the house. It's the mother, the divine mother of our lives, okay? The mother is usually the ruler of the house, of domestic areas of life. And so it rules femininity as well. It is a ruler of feminine energy. So we have so much feminine energy that's pushing through and being highlighted at this full moon. And why is it teaching us this? What does it want us to know? Basically, there are two aspects that are happening at the full moon. The first is that there's a water trine. So there's like a triangle between Neptune and Pisces, and it's at 11 degrees. Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio. So the moon at 11 degrees, Neptune and Pisces at 11 degrees, and then Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio. It's creating a water trine. This is a very potent energy to manifest intuition. So the moon is highlighting intuition. Neptune in Pisces in the trine is also at 11 degrees. 11 degrees, another master number, equals 2, equals partnerships, equals dreams. Pisces is the ruler of dreams and spirituality, so it's heightening our spirituality. It's also heightening our dreams, what we wish to accomplish. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and so it embodies everything that we want to dream and manifest. Finally, it's trine to Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio is, I'm going to say it, a no BS planet. And Jupiter in Scorpio isn't really too happy. Jupiter expands what needs to be hidden. It's revealing truths. A full moon brings the light to darker aspects. And Scorpio is a very deep, transformative planet, sign that wants to heal these darker aspects and bring them to light. And with Mars in Scorpio being trined, it means Mars is going to push it through. Mars is action. So Mars in Scorpio is pushing these darker aspects to be revealed. There's no doubt in my mind that globally, things are going to be coming up to the surface, whether we like to see them or not. So it's easier for us to embody and embrace this as part of a natural cycle that needs to occur. So if things start to come up in your life, or you start to experience or see things come up in the collective or in other people's lives around you, know that this is the reason why and that it needs to happen. There's another really important aspect that is happening at the full moon is called a kite configuration. So I talked about the trine. The second is the kite. The kite is with Mars and Jupiter and Neptune, but also with all the planets in Capricorn. So the Sun is in Capricorn, Venus is in Capricorn, Pluto is in Capricorn, and Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is now finally in Capricorn. Its ruling house and planet where it feels good. And Saturn is a very difficult planet. It teaches lessons and disciplines, but when it moves into its home sign of Capricorn, which is very unusual, it happens very every 3 years, or it's not a very typical placement. But when we have all these planets moving into Capricorn and creating a kite configuration, it forms both enormous intensity for creativity, but it also has the capacity to reveal deeper darkness, abuses of power, manipulation, and deception. So this kite configuration has two aspects to it. It has this intense creative aspect, and then it has this capacity to reveal abuses of power or be manipulative and deceptive because it's creative, right? So we can use it as creating imagination and creating beautiful goals and wishes and dreams, or it could be a deceptive energy, which is creating manipulation and lying and being deceiving. So this kite formation is kind of aspecting similar themes of the trine, which is highlighting the Mars and Jupiter and Scorpio that is revealing darker secrets to the light. So you see how this story and this cycle is kind of playing out already. What is it truly trying to teach us, though, at a deeper level? It's trying to teach us divine love, okay? Because when Venus is in Capricorn, it's not in a very particularly comfortable position. And Capricorn kind of creates this duality of, I want to create these manifested dreams for myself. I want to embody this divine love and have peace and love in my life. But then all these darker aspects come out of our ego shadow side, or the ego shadow side of the collective, or within our environments. And so what Capricorn is asking for us to transcend is to transcend into a higher dimensional divine love, to overcome these darker aspects, to ascend our consciousness and our hearts into a love that is connected to the divine, to the cosmic divine Father and Mother. So embodying a divine love for yourself through your connection to your own divinity with all of creation, which is the unity consciousness embodiment. So it's creating these kind of difficulties in our lives, perhaps, or within the collective environments, like in the news or in your family life or whatever it may be for you, because it wants you to return to a deeper level of love, connection to all that is, which is an embodiment of unity consciousness and oneness. So it's actually a very beautiful transition if you look at both the shadow and the light aspects. When you understand why these darker aspects are playing out, you can understand how to ascend and transcend them and why they're happening. This is why I talk about the importance of shadow work in anything that I do in my videos. So that's the super full moon in Cancer. My God, like how intense is that? But let's get into the numerological sequences, which I think is really beautiful. It's more positive, and it's talking about the new year. The new year is 2018. 2018 equals 2. There was the sun in Capricorn at 11 degrees at the full moon. Neptune in Pisces was at 11 degrees as well. The super full moon in Cancer was at 11 degrees. 2018 equals 11 degrees. January 1st, the first month of the first day, is 11 right there, plus 11. So we have 11/11 happening just in the date. There's so much potency for manifestation of what we truly want to create in our lives for this year right now. The astrology and the numerology is just showing how much divine love is coming through. And it wants to really harmonize the masculine and the feminine. And these are the darker, deeper aspects that we need to look at that are being highlighted thematically. We have all of the planets moving direct. Uranus in Aries, January 2nd, is moving forward. It is showing us that it's time to move forward, and it's time to manifest new beginnings, fresh starts. And we're entering into a 2-year, like I said. 2 is a very flexible number. It's a time to balance the masculine and feminine energies on the planet and within ourselves. And time to come into union or a soulmate relationship with another, or a business partnership, a one-on-one partnership, because that's where we're truly feeling at home, which is Cancer, feeling at home. Mercury is in Sagittarius. It's moving forward. It's going to allow us to explore ideas and communicate and express ideas for our new beginnings, for fresh starts, to end relationships that no longer serve us so we can start new beginnings. And then we have the new moon in Capricorn at 26 degrees. 2 plus 6 equals 8. That is the infinity code. That is the masculine, the feminine, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light coming into balance. And the new moon in Capricorn, Capricorn is a leadership sign. It's an earth sign. It's a cardinal sign as well as Cancer. But it's not in a positive placement at the new moon, unfortunately. It highlights leadership decisions in the past that do not come from intuitive gut instinct knowing. It comes from abuses of power or manipulations and lies and deceptive strategies. So what's going to be highlighted at the new moon, January 16th, this month, are these lower deceptive leadership actions from the masculine side of life that never served us as a whole, and that some people blindly followed. And why am I saying blindly followed? Well, because the full moon is revealing these deeper secrets. It's revealing these darker energies that need to come into harmony. And it's wanting to bring the masculine and the feminine back into harmony. So this is happening right before the lunar and solar eclipses, which will reboot our 6-month cycles. And so that's why it's really important for us this January to really tune into our feminine side, to empower women, to empower our own feminine intuitive senses, and allow that to be the driving force for our leadership, for our actions, for our decisions about ourselves and others. This is what the moon is trying to teach us. And it's going to eclipse this out of our lives this February for the eclipses. So what are some key themes of Cancer? Why am I talking about women's empowerment and feminine energy so much? Women's rights, women's health, domestic affairs, secrets about these kind of issues coming to light. Key themes of this transit from January all the way to the eclipses. Here are the key themes, okay? Women's empowerment, domestic affairs, home and family, marriage, mothers, motherhood, single parenting, women's health, intuition and emotions, fertility, pregnancy and birth control, feminine reproductive cycle and sexuality, true love and soulmates, pregnancy, if I didn't say that already, forced marriages, prostitution, sexual abuse or development of sexually transmitted diseases, specifically human rights violations like genital mutilation. Also, what's important is women's mental health and women's custody rights or parental custody rights over children, and maternity and paternity leave for family life. These are all the themes that are coming up at this full moon all the way to the eclipses. This is what we're covering right now. And there's this huge women's empowerment energy coming through. So it's really important to look at how all these... So what is the story that's playing out this January of 2018 to February of 2018 for the eclipses? Why are we having this huge lunation emphasis this January and then the eclipses next month to end and start a new 6-month cycle? So I'm going to get into a few quotes from other astrological pages so people understand that the messages and the themes that I'm sharing are very potent and that it's not just me saying these things. So these are cycles and transits that very many astrologers are informing people about. So the first is the full moon. It talks about our intuition, our sensitivity being heightened. And on www.mysticmama.com, she also talks about Uranus in Aries. And she says it's particularly strong as it comes to a standstill in its retrograde motion, and on January 2nd slowly begins to retrace its path of 5-month retrograde. Uranus continues to travel with Pallas Athena and Aries. Those are stars or asteroids, which are the feminine spiritual warriors who seek social justice and who may have provided the fuel for feminine empowerment and outrage we have recently been experiencing. A very effective alliance. They also have a strong ally because we're entering into the Chinese year of the Earth Dog as well, who is a champion of the truth and justice and a brave whistleblower. This is Uranus' finest close sweep to the Pluto in Capricorn square, now coming within 6 degrees, augmenting change and unexpected awakenings, demolition of what no longer is useful, and the best of all, regeneration and renewal. So Uranus is all about changes, surprises, sudden events, erratic kind of situations erupting. But when it's moving with Pallas Athena and Aries, it's talking about being a feminine spiritual warrior who's seeking social justice. That's why I'm talking about women's empowerment, women's rights, women's health, domestic affairs. These are the themes that are being highlighted with the Uranus in Aries transit as well. Another important aspect is Saturn that moved into Capricorn, and it's the sign that is most comfortable in. And according to darkstartastrology.com, however, in terms of this new moon, Capricorn 3 can be a difficult place for a sensitive moon. This is because of Capricorn Decan 3's great ambition to sit in the seat of power, the throne of this goaty moon so craves, conflicts with other emotional ties and family demands. So what's happening is that there's this leadership Capricorn masculine energy wants to sit in the seat of power, but unfortunately, it's not comfortable there. The moon is asking these masculine energies to start embodying more intuition in their decisions. And he goes on to say similar themes about this type of transition and about some of the topics that I raised earlier about the Capricorn energy in why it's not so positive in the kite configuration, where it has the capacity for deeper darkness, abuses of power, or manipulation or deception. The only reason why it would go to that is if you're not intuitively tuning inwards to your heart and to your emotions, which is the Cancer energy, the mothering energy, the feminine energies that are trying to tell us this is now the way forward. Feminine energies need to balance and harmonize with the masculine. Okay, this is why. So there's that. There's also the lunar eclipse January 31st, and it's by astrologyking.com, and he calls it the superwoman, right? So this lunar eclipse January 2018 will focus attention on single mothers and working mothers. Working single mothers are really super women. The rights and freedoms of women in general are major themes of January 31st lunar eclipse. Social discussions and political debate about the eclipse phase will include parenting styles, custody rights, maternity leave, childcare, and equal pay. But what is more important about this lunar eclipse in Leo at 11 degrees is that it falls in the fixed star of Ascellus Australis, which is the shell of the crab, and on the fixed star of Acubens, which are the claws of the crab. So he says if you believe astrology works on the principle of as above, so below, this is a Cancer lunar eclipse more than a lunar Leo lunar eclipse. After all, the astrological meaning of the constellations were gradually transferred to the newly developed zodiac over 2,000 years ago. The origin of the zodiac was intended to be coordinate systems, a convenient celestial measuring system unrelated to astrological activity. So the moon is at home in its Cancer constellation, meaning the full moon of January 2018 will be a very powerful total eclipse of the moon. And Cancer, the crab, rules home, family, mothers, mothering, housework, and comfort. It is emotional, domestic, intuitive, and sensitive. So it just talks so much more emphasis about the Cancer full moon that's happening right now, because that's what the eclipses will be talking about as well. It won't actually be a Leo eclipse. The stars are aspecting more of the Cancer theme, again, of the mothering, of the women's rights, of the women's health, of domestic affairs, and that type of thing. Okay, another quote I wanted to mention is later on, the solar eclipse in February, on February 15th at 27 degrees of Aquarius. Okay, this one by astrologyking.com, he says the solar eclipse conjuncts Juno means marriage and unions will be a major topic of the Mercury discussions. Juno was originally the moon goddess. In fact, the ancient Romans called her Juno Cavella, goddess of the new moon. The word cavella comes from the Latin word for hollow, describing the new moon's thin crust, etc., etc. From the 28th day new moon cycle comes Juno's association with female reproductive cycles. Juno is a lunar goddess that oversees women of childbearing age from puberty to childbirth and marriage. Juno also rules soulmates, true love, and commitment. It also is conjunct with Hygiena. So the topics of health and medicine and discussions on marriage and unions will be aspected from this asteroid Hygiena, which is associated with hygiene, traditional natural medicine, doctors, healers, diseases, illnesses, toxins, fear of poison, fear of doctors, fear of medical results, etc., misdiagnoses, drug abuse, diets, worrying about health and family, etc. What I found really specific here is that people, he quotes, again I quote, that people in general will feel less inhibited to choose their own independent path in terms of non-traditional relationships and family structures. The solar eclipse in February 18 should expose the limitations of arranged marriages and the sexual abuse that is often associated with them. This positive Uranus influence, because Uranus will be sextile of the solar eclipse in February, and this positive Uranus influence should bring greater awareness of young girls being sold into prostitution or sexual slavery. You should hear more about taboo subjects like genital mutilation and other human rights violations against young women or women in general. So you can see why women's health is a huge issue, birth control is a huge issue, parental leave is a huge issue, custody rights is a huge issue, women's empowerment. And I'm going to go over the themes that I talked about here. Women's empowerment, domestic affairs, home and family, marriage, mothers and motherhood or pregnancy, single parenting. That goes for men and women. Women's health, reproductive cycle, fertility, birth control, intuition and emotions, the female reproductive cycle, sexuality, true love and soulmates, forced marriages, prostitution and sexual abuse, sexually transmitted diseases through sexual abuse, genital mutilations and human rights violations against women, women's mental health issues, custody rights, maternity and paternity leaves. All these themes are being highlighted from this full moon, January 1st, all the way to the eclipses. Okay, and then come March, we will have a planet going retrograde. I can't remember which one, but that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to just go over to everyone the full moon and new moon cycles that are going from 11 to 26 degrees. So January 1st, the full moon is at 11 degrees in Cancer. January 16th, the new moon is at 26 degrees in Capricorn. January 31st, the full moon eclipse, the lunar eclipse, is at 11 degrees in Leo. But as we just heard with the stars, it's actually more likely in Cancer. It's got a lot of Cancer energy. Again, the February 15th or 16th new moon eclipse, solar eclipse, is at 27 degrees in Aquarius, sorry. March 1st is a full moon at 11 degrees in Virgo. March 17th is a new moon at 26 degrees in Pisces. And then that's pretty much when this 26-11 degree cycle ends. Come the end of March, the 26 degree cycle ends. So right now we have this potent time where doors are opening to create true love in our life, to finally heal the feminine aspect and bring it back to balance so that we can have divine harmony in our relationships, for soulmates, for twin souls, and for the planet as a whole, so that everyone embodies their feminine and masculine with more harmony and grace and with their decisions. So those were some of the key topics that I wanted to bring up with this full moon energy, and I'm going to put the links below. I hope this brings you some healing awareness, why some of these themes are coming up in your experience, how you can go about manifesting greater love in your life, and really healing women and empowering women at this time. Because truly, the time energetically, planetarily, astrologically, numerologically, everything is pointing the finger to embody women's rights more authentically and provide women more sovereignty in their choices and empowering them in all ways, and alleviating them from any abuse cycles, any more victim and perpetrator cycles. And so I'm going to actually attach 2 healing articles that anyone can use, both men and women, that can provide you deeper healing to the root causes of why some of these abuse cycles towards women have been occurring and reoccurring, and to finally end them. So for women, it's called the mother wound, and for men, it's actually called the mother wound as well. And we have to heal this at the root so that we can embody and balance masculine and feminine energies within ourselves. And so I felt guided to also share those 2 articles for anyone who wants to learn a little bit more about why these issues are coming up and what they can do to heal these issues in their lives and for the planet as a whole. So I thank you for tuning in. I wish you all a happy new year. I hope this January and February report provides you a bigger story and a bigger picture of what's coming up ahead. I've been guided to share it in this format. I'm sorry if it's a little bit longer, but this month I'm actually moving myself. I have to move out of my home. So domestic affairs, Cancer, I'm dealing with a lot of Cancer energy as well. I have to move homes. I'm going to be transitioning as well. A lot of personal transitions in my life, healing issues that may still come up for me that are causing unbalance between masculine and feminine aspects in my environment. So I'm trying to transition out of that and heal that. And, you know, I'm going to be working on my own things for the next 2 months, pretty much. So I might do a few glimpses of energy reports here and there, but the astrological report for the next 2 months is this one. So I thank you for tuning in, and I hope this message serves you. And if you feel free to go back and watch this video again later in February, because it is covering pretty much the next 2 months. And so I hope this video helps you. I am grateful to be of service, and I wish you lots of miracles and blessings and healings in your life, in your path, in your journey ahead, for the beautiful 11 year that we have, that is truly divine love coming into full force. So thank you again for tuning in, and I wish you lots of love and blessings. Take care.